the gunpowder treason and plot. For I see no reason why the gunpowder treason should ever be forgot. Guy Fawkes, 'twas his intent to blow up king and parliament. 70 barrel were laid below to prove old England's overthrow. By God's mercy he was catched with a dark lantern in lighted match. Holla boy, let the bells ring. Holla boy, God save the king. And what should we do now that he's saved? Burn him, burn him. How's it going, everybody? Happy 5th of November, and I don't see a revolution unfolding today, but maybe, right? Maybe. We can only hope. The day is still young in America, at least on the West. And we are still at least a day away from the beginning of swell. I hope you guys are all having a fantastic one, though. What's up, Ark? How's it going, guys? What up? Kool-Aid, how you doing, bro? Johnny Valencia, waiting for two. Cellmate, how you doing, guys? How we all doing out here? Yes, well, I can't wait. I cannot wait. Chicago in the house. What's up? Thanks for stopping by, guys. Yeah, it's a slow one in the news cycle, right? Actually, not really. Did anybody catch the news regarding the European Central Bank today? Seeming to be heating up regarding central bank digital currencies in Europe now that Christine Lagarde's at their helm. I don't know. We haven't gotten absolute confirmation that any legislation has been passed yet. But it seems to be Christine Lagarde's first intent, now she's, at the head of the ECB, to get a central bank digital currency released in the Eurozone so that Europe doesn't collapse due to, decades of poor policy. So maybe this will be a 5th to remember. We can only hope, right? Germany making noise about potential CBDCs. XRP my pants. I heard this from another individual in my comments saying that German news, NTV I think was the network he's mentioned, for the first time had like a 5-minute article or 5-minute news segment dedicated to just that, right? Just a few days before swell too. And this individual said that they'd never seen anything on NTV regarding, whatever the news channel was, and I think it's called NTV. He had never seen anything on that news channel regarding digital currencies prior to that. So, maybe that is a sign that we're seeing things heat up, right? Now you will have to hold that mask all the way back to the car, or I just put it back on, or put it on my shoulder. Aw, man. Now I don't have to hold it. I'm gonna keep my glasses on though, because when you have blue eyes in the sunshine, well, it's not the sunshine state, but when you have blue eyes and it's really bright out, it's hard to see. I can still kind of read chat too, so this works. What's up, cellmate? What you got here? Rumors are Deutsche Bank filed for bankruptcy, not too far out there. Yeah, I mean, we've all known, anybody that's been paying attention to Deutsche Bank though, like the writing's been on the walls for like months now, arguably years if you're a bit more pessimistic, or just somebody who actually likes math, a realist, I guess, really. That was on the walls, you know what I mean? So it's going to be interesting to see how long they can keep it propped up. And they need to keep it propped up at least long enough for them to implement a central bank digital currency in the Eurozone so that the whole Eurozone doesn't collapse thanks to the collapse of Deutsche Bank, because it is the largest bank in, the Eurozone. So, and Germany is the arguably the strongest economy in Europe right now. So, well, in Europe, yeah, because I don't know. I think England's technically smaller even when they were part of the Eurozone. I'm sure there are some English folk who would happily debate that sentiment with me, but From a strictly numbers point, I believe they had a stronger economy. Crypto to the rescue, hopefully. Hopefully. It seems that way, doesn't it? It really seems that way. When you look at what we're seeing unfold on the global stage, you know, it's really hard anymore to deny what we're watching unfold. You know, like, I'm trying to stay like moderate, you know, because I get raged at by so many people whenever I start, you know, talking about the fact that there's probably a concerted global effort amongst, you know, prominent members of the UN and Bank of International Settlements and so on, to migrate from the fiat system to a digitally backed, you know, digital currency backed ecosystem. These central bank digital currencies, because if you just implement a central bank digital currency without some form of backing behind it, it's not going to be any different from, you know, the fiat system. And it's going to have just as quick of repercussions here. Sorry, buddy's calling me. So yeah, QAnon posted, remember the 5th of November. Well, to be fair, when it comes to anonymous culture, we all love the 5th of November because it stands for it's a day of revolution. You know, that's really the point of the 5th of November. It symbolizes the spirit of revolution. And so, you know, anybody that's posting about the 5th of November, it's not that anything magnanimous is happening, because, well, let's be real. If there's a revolution happening, we would have all been plotting this through chat rooms and all this stuff over the last several months, instead of just waiting for this day to all celebrate, hey, 5th of November, but, you know, we're not revolutionaries yet, right? Maybe soon. We'll find out. Thought I was about to be grasped by a snake. Thought I heard something rattling. Any opinions on Neo or Tron? They're both crap coins, Mish. No. I don't hold Neo or Tron, especially not Neo. I don't like Justin Sun any more than I like Jeb McCaleb, so it's not even a matter of like personally liking them, it's just they give me bad vibes. And so I would not invest in either of their projects because I cannot trust the energies which I perceive those two individuals letting off, the two heads of XLM and TRX. I don't even know who's behind Neo though. From my understanding, the only thing that was big about Neo is that it was the most euphoric pump and dump of the 2018 altcoin season, right? So yeah, but are you watching? We both have similar sentiments. They're both crap coins. They both have Jack. What's up, Masks? How you doing today, dude? You know, I will say, buddy, you keep saying that I'm homeless, but you know, if you knew anything about home's where the heart's at, and my heart's here, bro. Well, not really. It's actually all over the world, but you know. Right now, this is where my heart's at. That's why I'm here. Tron has Beatscoin, VibraVid. It will be huge for music industry. Brandon, that's actually, you may have a pretty good point there, because when it comes to the media industry, Tron definitely has gotten like a pretty good lockdown, and that's actually why one of my friends is pretty heavy in Tron. No matter what I told him about XRP, I could not get him to diversify away from just being purely in TRX. But that's also because he's a musician, so you know, as a musician, obviously he saw the promise for something like that. XRP for life, keep at it, building that nest for the future. Hell yeah, dude. No doubt. That's what we're all doing. Hopefully everybody's still out there stacking up while we're still under 30 cents. Man, I'm like in the jungle today. It's like the jungle back here, mates. It's just like thick as it gets. Got to watch out for the snakes and creepy cruelies. They want to give me the poisons, mate. I ain't getting no anti-venom with me. Strikingly scary stuff back here. Oi! Oh, I thought that was one. Thought I was gonna be a goner there. You're gonna watch me die on camera. Oz Crypto 2.0, yeah, mate. I love accents, but you know, I'm sure they offend plenty of people. Sure, I offend plenty of people when I do one of my terrible accents impersonating them. No pump and dump before swell. Soon, I hope and pray. Danny B, I'm actually really excited that we didn't get a pump before swell, because to me that says that, you know, our market's maturing, right? If we can't get a pump, and then obviously it's highly unlikely we're going to get a dump, right? So it says to me that people aren't just investing emotionally as the price moves up 5-6%, and we're in this like consolidation phase now too. So, you know, I kind of feel like it's a good thing. It's actually a really good thing that swell didn't have a pre-pump this year, and it actually makes me more bullish for what we get from swell. I think that actually means that if we get something good from swell, it's not priced into the market right now because, you know, everybody's so skeptical about, you know, anything big coming from it, because there's not a lot of talk in the space, you know. There's not a lot of, like, we've all been speculating on, oh well, what could it be, you know, like from small things like announcements of a few new corridors, which in the grand scheme of things would be pretty big, right? But, you know, from small things like that to the announcement, like Bearable Bull's talking about BRICS, right? Bearable Bull, Sam I Am, a few other people have been talking about this BRICS partnership. Nice little lake back here, hidden back here. Walmart, we already knew about a connection with Walmart actually for like over a year now. So, I mean, that's not even really big. The only thing that would be big for is anybody in the space that, you know, is brand new to the space. It's like if they re-announce their partnership with Walmart or with Apple, you know. Everybody already knows that they're partnered with Apple. So, I mean, woo, right? Except for like the 5 people in our space who don't know that Ripple's partnered with Apple, you know? Or that they don't know that that Ripple or that Google is an early investor in Apple, you know? Like maybe they'll come out, they'll talk about how Google's integrating, and they'll be like, oh my gosh, and I'll be like, but they said this like 2 years ago, like why, or 3 years ago now. Why is everybody getting all worked up about them re-announcing something that's like 3 years old, you know? So I feel like it's gotta be something big. Or something different from that, you know? Especially for them to invite XRP YouTubers out. Man, it's bright as hell out here. It's bright as hell. But yeah, it's a very interesting time to be invested in the market. It's just because of the fact that we have swell coming up and nothing is happening with the price, you know? XLM, they burned. So fun fact, you know, anybody who's been living in under a rock for the past 24 hours or whatever, you probably heard by now that XLM burned 50% of their coins, yet the price only pumped 20%, and it's already down like 5 or 6% from that pump. So ultimately, it's locked down a whole like 15%, 16% gains after burning half of its supply. And to be completely frank, I think it's bad news. I think it's really bad news that the Stellar Foundation felt the need to burn half of their coins. Or not even half of their coins. It was half of the total supply, which equated to like 70+% of their coins, right? Remember, the 5th of November has nothing to do with XRP, except for the fact that it is the digital revolution. And it's the digital revolution brought to you by the banking industry, because as anybody who's watched V for Vendetta or read the comic books knows, it's not about, you know, so much about Guy Fawkes in that movie. It's more so about the masses being brainwashed little sheep, being good little servants to their government and obeying what they're told without questioning, and thus they are puppets to the state, and they shall not participate in our revolution. I really love this mask. It's fantastic. But yeah, like, you guys gotta keep in XLM is a dead project. Sold the last of it at a loss. See, what's funny is I sold my XLM back in like the very beginning of July, end of June. I can't remember what day. It was right around the end of June. And I still could buy in after this 20% pump. I could still buy in at a discount from what I sold, right? So like, I wasn't impressed. I wasn't impressed with the pump. But I am impressed with the fact that I have almost 200 people in the stream and only have 30 likes. What the hell, guys? Can you guys hit that like button? Hit that like for me. Do me a favor. Just hit it. You know, I know it's strenuous, you know, like you might have to like minimize the chat to hit the like button, hit that thumbs. And you know, like it might strain your clicker finger that you have to like, oh man, like really? But it just proves that you're not a bot, and then like we can figure out like how many humans are in the chat versus robots, you know? I feel like most of my viewers are actually bots. They're not real humans because, you know, I see like 30 people in my chat every day. There's like 30 of you that like are always talking and like coming in, engaging, and then there's like this silent majority who I'm like, are they real people? Or is like everybody got like 2 or 3 windows open, they're watching me at once to make me like feel like I'm popular, but I'm not, you know? Like there's just like the same like 30 people, you know? We want to believe our community's bigger, you know what I mean? All right, we got up to 61 now. That's a little bit better. Thank you, guys. Oh wow, I hate when that gets stuck like that. It's real, bro. Uber Eats. Oh no, this revolution's absolutely real, and it's terrifying, honestly, how real this is, and yet most people are oblivious to it. You know, when we are constantly finding government documents depicting how ILP, specifically ILP, or distributed ledger technology, specifically that being developed by Ripple Labs, is being implemented by the financial industry, it's like, how can anybody deny that this was real? Oh, because they're not looking. You know, it's like whenever I go out and I do the like talking to random people on the street, and we ask them about Bitcoin, and you see that I ask a few people, I'm like, hey, have you heard do you know what the IMF is? And they're like, what? Oh, wait, hold up, who's that? Justin Deo, thank you for the 999, bro. You're funny, my friend. You have food spirit? Bro, I love food. If you don't love food, how are you alive? How are you alive if you don't love food? Yo, if you don't love food, you need to get out of my chat room, because you're not even human, bro. And like, nothing against like some algorithms, some bots, but y'all are definitely suppressing the price of XRP, so we're not cool right now. We're not cool. So, you know, bots, you can scram. You guys don't eat food? You don't appreciate chicken? What's wrong with you? You don't even like strawberries. That's like some inhumane nonsense if you don't like strawberries. Now I'm gonna get like 30 people saying, I can hate strawberries and I'm human. How's that inhuman to not like your stupid red berry with seeds? They get stuck between my teeth. And you know, there's always some pessimist out there. Somebody's gonna complain about it. Any marijuana plants near you out there? I have not smelled, you know, I haven't actually been smelling because I'm breathing through my mouth while I'm talking, but I've not smelled no marijuanas. Not smelled any. So nope, sorry, bro. There, you know, I think considering we're in Cali, most anybody smells a marijuana plant growing out in like the fields, they're gonna be like, nah, dude, that's some dirt weed. I'll go pick up some good stuff from the dispensary. I'll pay $60 for what I can get illegally on the street for 20, because tax. Any chemtrails? Is there chemtrails up there? It's a beautiful blue day up in the sky. Here, I'll let you guys see. Apparently San Diego, it's just too rich, you know. Everybody out here got too much money for them chemtrails, you know what I mean? So it's like beautiful blue day, beautiful blue skies. Gotta love it, gotta love it. Nah, you know, a lot of people think that too, you know, like, I love that too. Like, a lot of people will be like, linking me to conspiracy stuff, or like accusing me of like being a conspiracy theorist or being behind these things because I believe in XRP, because I have read with my own 2 eyes government documents that I've linked, that I've done videos on, that I've suggested to people to go read with their own 2 eyes, you know? But instead, they'd rather sit around and chat and like say, "Oh, you're just a conspiracy theorist." I'm like, well, no, I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but I am presenting you documents of closed-door conspiracies that are unfolding. And to be clear, a conspiracy theory is different from a conspiracy, right? Like a theory is something that is well, you know, the layman's term of theory, non-scientific theory, is an unprovable claim. Whereas documents from central banks and supranational organizations like the IMF and Bank of International Settlements making claims about what they're doing, well, that is a pseudo-conspiracy because it's open door. They're relatively open about their plans, about what they're doing, you know? So it's not even, we can't even say it's conspiracy because, you know, anybody that has half a brain, has the ability to read the English language, and knows how to use Google to search for, you know, straight from the horse's mouth sites like IMF.org or, you know, Bank of International Settlements.org, so on and so forth, like the actual sites of these organizations that are known, that are accredited to be in charge of some pretty big stuff. You can go look it up instead of like sit around calling people in our communities conspiracy theorists. What's up, pimpin'? How's it going? My favorite pimp in the community, brother. How you doing? What's up, Code Words? Glad to see you in here too. Have you walked into any chemtrails strings yet, Jay? I've never actually seen a chemtrail though, bro. I actually don't subscribe to that. Just because I haven't experienced it, you know? Like, I'm one of those people that unless I'm able to find, you know, conclusive documentation straight from the horse's mouth kind of thing, I don't believe it. And that might be me being like a puppet to the state, but at the same time, it's like, you know, there are so many people working in government that, you know, think of it like Edward Snowden, right? If we have so many people in government who are working in government because they genuinely feel that they're working for the good guy. And so if they found evidence while working for the good guy that they're actually working for the bad guy, they'd want to get that out there. And they'd they'd become a whistleblower. And it'd become public knowledge pretty quickly. Weather control. No, I do not ascribe to weather control either. I think that's some, you know, if there was weather control, just to be clear, if we already had weather control, we'd already live in a utopian society, like, genuinely. And anybody that thinks otherwise, like thinking like the world's elites would want to keep everybody down, it's like, no, because anybody with half a brain would realize that if we could move beyond worrying about food, worrying about energy production, then we could focus on the real issues like how do we cure aging? How do we end cancer? How do we make it so that we as the wealthy, powerful individuals of this world can survive for fucking ever? Never die. Never die. You can't pick and choose your conspiracy. That's because I'm not a conspiracy theorist, Joseph. And that's me saying that if you think XRP is a conspiracy, you're brain dead. And I'm not even gonna be nice about it. If you think XRP is a conspiracy, you're just straight up stupid as a box of rocks. Like, I think a box of rocks probably can solve a mathematical equation quicker than you if you think that what Ripple's doing, if you think that what we are presenting to you about Ripple is a conspiracy theory, right? Like, it's just blatant at this point. Look up Operation Popeye. I'm not sure what that one is, but I'll look into it. Is it actually something that you can link government to a government domain that was like actually published, saying it's like, you know, disclosed documents, like the so here's a gray area, right? Let's talk about some gray area stuff, like when it comes to psyops. Everybody knows about psyops because the CIA disclosed that they were researching into psychic abilities, right? And so this is what I say to that. I say, yeah, it makes sense that a spy organization would research into whether or not that is an actual thing. But here's the thing. It was shut down. It was closed. It's not ongoing anymore. That's why it was disclosed to the public that they tried to research it. Because if it was legitimate, we'd still not know about it, right? I was coming from the point where of conspiracy with banks, weather, etc. Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, here's the thing. If you know anything about business, and banks are businesses, let's be clear. A bank is a business, you know what I mean? I know you are, Joseph, but like, I'm saying that to anybody in the chat that isn't, because we get a lot of trolls. You know this too. Like, everybody in the XRP community knows we get just any YouTuber talking about XRP gets accosted by trolls every damn day. And so, when it comes to banks and conspiracies, a bank is a business, and businesses operate things called NDAs, and NDAs have a mostly harmless purpose of preventing competition from learning their trade secrets, learning how it is, that they're managing to save their customers so much money while competitors can't find a cheaper option in, right? Question, what time did the bomb explode on V for Vendetta? Was it 5 seconds or 5 minutes after midnight on the 5th of November? It was something like that. Holy Pat B, bro. The $100 bomb, goddamn. Holy crap, bro. I inspire you, you inspire me with that bag, bro, or with that bomb, brother. Thank you so much, dude. $100. Hope this helps build that 100K XRP bag. Bro, if I can ever build a stack of 100K XRP, I don't know. I might not even care if we hit $10, you know what I mean? I might just be trading. If I get 100K XRP, I might be one of these a-hole whales holding the price down, you know what I mean? Pat B, brother, thank you so much, though. That is awesome, dude. Thank you so much for that. That's crazy. Yeah, we got 11. My donation total now is $111. That's a good number. I like that number. 111. That's a good angel number. Yeah, thank you so much, dude. Yeah, straight up coin pimping. That's a real pimp right there. He's watching out. Let's see here. That's sick. You got me. Oh, HARP. Lazy Lay, HARP weather control scientists confirm already being used in Dubai. Google it. Okay, so HARP is an experimental organization. They've not been able to do anything yet. All right, they do want to, like, here's the deal, okay? The government does want to be able to manipulate the weather, right? I am almost an a-hole whale. Well, with the name like Ducky McScrooge, you know, I would not doubt it, bro. I mean, that's kind of a rich man's name, right? But to the weather thing, I'll touch this real quick. When it comes to HARP, because HARP is real, if anybody thinks that it's fake, it's not. But you cannot manipulate the weather with a tiny little I think their entire research facility is over less than 2 square miles worth of terrain. You can't manipulate global weather with such a thing. You can't. You can't manipulate the weather on the other side of the world with an institute that's in Alaska. It's not real. Like, here's the thing. I might deny most conspiracies, but that doesn't mean that I haven't looked into it just to be like, what's going on here, right? So like, it goes back to this old saying that, you know, at the heart of every conspiracy is a little bit of a truth, right? There's a little bit of truth at the heart of every conspiracy, something like that. And that's true, right? Governments around the world would absolutely love to learn how to terraform our planet through weather manipulation. And they might have like some ideas of how to. The issue is, it's a matter of logistics, right? And I say logistics, not money, because most people are like, well, they could just print the money. They could. But the issue is that they need to acquire the resources in order to build these facilities on a global scale. Like, it would have to, the facilities to manipulate the weather would have to be enormous, and no one on the face of the planet could ignore their existence if they existed, because they'd be everywhere. And we'd all know, right? Mavin Jr., I contribute 2% of what Pat B did. Times are tough. No worries, brother. Thank you so much for the 2 bones. Hey, everybody, all you guys just viewing my channel, you had to watch a 5-second ad and click past that 5-second ad to come into today's video. Unless you're unless you're one of those people using a Brave browser, then, you know, maybe you're like streaming Brave rewards to me, since, you know, you're giving your attention to me, and that's streaming to me. So like, even that guys, you're helping me out, you know. So I really appreciate the people that donate, but, you know, it's not, you guys everybody helps me who views my channel, just by viewing it, just by sharing it on Twitter. You help me grow my channel. That's really what it's about. And I'm not out here trying to like make money. Like, anybody that watches my content, you know that this is for fun. This is me engaging with everybody in our community, getting to know people in our community, sharing my insights, my beliefs, my, you know, perspective, I guess, on the ecosystem, what I think's going on, and, you know, bouncing my ideas off you guys, seeing what you guys like, what sticks, seeing what you guys absolutely reject too, so that I can be like, well, maybe I'm a little bit off there. Off camera, I'll go research and see who's right, me or the person out there like bashing against whatever I was saying that caused the controversy. And let's see, where are you on? Oh, dude, Emmy, I know there's a lot of people in the crypto space that believe in a flat earth. There's a lot of people that believe in that. I'm gonna say this. I'm a scientist. I understand how sundials work, and I'll just leave it at that. I understand how a sundial works. So where does that put me? I also passed trigonometry. I actually passed a trigonometry class, and I've traveled enough of the world to realize that there is a precession to seasons. So there's a lot of things that I understand about our world by just traveling and having a decent understanding and decent grasp, you know, a decent ability at math, you know what I mean? Scrooge, the earth is flat. If the earth were too flat, why would God make pancakes? You know what my favorite question is? If the earth is flat, why is the moon not flat? Why is Mars not flat? Why is the sun not flat? Why are all these things around us, you know, all these other heavenly bodies not flat? Earth is 5D at least. Actually, here's what I'll say. From a four-dimensional perspective, the Earth's flat. That's a lie, actually. From a four-dimensional perspective, the Earth is a line. If anybody actually understands extra-dimensional, like how to view things in four-dimensional, you'll understand that the difference between a line and a flat surface, you know. But yeah, the Earth is a line through space-time, and we're all lines through that space-time as well. So you're all a bunch of line people out there. You're all a bunch of flatlanders, flat on a fourth dimension. Yeah, exactly. That's my defense, Ken. That's what I'm gonna say from now on. Anybody asks me about flat Earth and be like, it's flat in 4 dimensions. I mean, it's even flatter than flat. It's a straight line, you know. What's your sign? Nova, I am a Gemini born in the year of the snake. In other words, my spirit animal is 3 entwined snakes. It's pretty demonic. It's pretty demonic. I'm not gonna lie. It kind of scares me. Because the name Jade Martian, when you put it in gematria, it's like Antichrist, first thing. I'm like, that's not cool. Okay? I know, right? It's messed up. So, you know, you shouldn't trust me because I'm probably just a liar. I'm full of lies out here. I'm a reptilian. Yeah, I'm a non-emotional being, even though I'm definitely an empath. I definitely have some the ability to feel emotions a lot more than, or other people's emotional energies a lot more than I think most people even do. It's not fun. Sure, bro. The string theory. Hi from Argentina. There you go, bro. Yeah, I mean, it's not string theory exactly, but you know, it's based upon, so like if you look at any object in you know, 3-dimensional object, right? Like me walking forward, right? In the 4th dimension, this path that I've walked you know, this whole path, I've walked a straight line. I've created a line with my walking, right? Don't talk like that. I'm just screwing. Because I know a lot of people like gematria, and so like I think I took a wrong turn actually. Here, I'm gonna retrace my line through space-time here. But so like I know a lot of people like gematria, and I got into it for a little while until I started like Googling or using gematria as related to myself. And I was like, no, this isn't cool, because I'm either the Antichrist or I'm Christ returned, and either one is not a cool scenario, because, you know, if I'm Christ returned, does that mean I get like I get slayed again? Does that mean I'm gonna get, you know, crucified again? And, you know, if not, does that mean I'm the Antichrist because I'm gonna rule the world, because people are gonna think that I'm, you know? And it's like, no, it's a terrible thing. You should not read gematria, because everything in gematria is like larger than life, bigger than you. That's kind of how gematria works, you know? So yeah, it's like there's all kinds of stuff. Like gematria is fun. I love it, and that's why I love, like, you know, like Crypto Mike. He loves gematria. He uses it for everything. But I take that stuff with a grain of salt, you know, because I get what he's saying, that he thinks that like the powers that be are presenting coded messages in gematria. But at the same time, it's like that might be a thing, but we don't have evidence for it, you know what I mean? Yourself come to rapture all the XRP unto yourself. Yeah, so that's the other thing too, right? Nope, you're the Martian, not... Yeah, John Stoops. Hopefully all that's all right? No, I'm just goofing. It's all fun. It's all in good fun. I am the kind of person who, you know, I entertain ideas. I don't believe ideas. You know what I mean? I don't think that, like Mike, but disagree. Yeah, I mean, you know, everybody's entitled to their thing, and like I said, like I don't get into, I don't really believe gematria or any of that stuff. It's entertaining. It's fun for me. It's like you know, that's why I do enjoy engaging with anybody who has a idea that's outside of normative, because it helps you stay open, you know? Even if you don't agree with the ideas being presented, it helps you stay open as an individual, so that you can be like, okay, well, I mean, that's obviously, like, as a whole picture, that's obviously a stretch, but, you know, maybe there's a truth underlying it. Maybe there's some truth here that it's not visible at first glance, and so it gets you curious to go do research in areas that you otherwise wouldn't have, you know? And so in doing that research, then you find some real cool stuff, like some real stuff. And so, like, that's why I like Mike and all them, because even if I don't agree with like some of the conclusions or some of like the leaps of faith that he makes regarding his findings and how he does it, he still gets my brain pumping and thinking about relationships between certain entities. And then I go on a Google binge search where I'm trying to find something concrete that I can do a video on or something like that. So it's really fun. Like, it's good stuff, and it gets you thinking. As long as you're being critical about such things, you know, it's all good. And Mike, I think Mike's a really good guy too. So it's like, it's not like he's out here doing this out of some malicious place or anything like that, you know. He's a small YouTuber like me, and he's obviously not going to, like, neither of us are going to impact the price of XRP by us just sharing even our craziest or, you know, most monumental hypotheses about the space, right? So it's not like he's hurting anybody, and he says all the time that, you know, what he's saying isn't investment advice, it's just his speculations, you know. So we gotta take it with a grain of salt. I'm thinking I got lost here. Wait, I'm lost in the woods, guys. I'm lost back here in the woods. There's not even very big woods back here. It's just kind of small and tight, and, you know. Ah, fucking hell. Where the fuck am I? Oh, wait. Maybe back there. Well, I'm getting sidetracked, literally lost in the woods back here. I think I want to go over or under this thing. And up over here. All right. This looks like a path now. Stop that South African accent. I'm trying. I can't help it. It's just fun. I enjoy it too much. And when you're out wandering through the wilds, you just go up to, it just comes out. It just happens. It just happens. I didn't even mean to do that time. Just whenever I'm out wandering, right? All right. There's a clearing here. I think I know where I'm at again. SickTA says XRP will be the elite crypto stellar for the common man, the reserve for the world. So, yeah, SickTA has some, he's apparently psychic, that's his thing. And so I guess the man can see the future. And I'm told that he is not a malicious individual, though he definitely made like anybody that's been on his channel, the video with like the red screen where he's like just sitting there like wishing the worst, playing a little video clip wishing the worst upon somebody. He was wishing that on me after I criticized his tarot card reading. So, I don't know how good-spirited the man is considering that video, but teach their own. I love sacred geometry. Sacred geometry from a mathematical, like actual sacred geometry, not like the woo-woo sacred geometry, I find fascinating because anybody that actually studied physics, well, really it's quantum mechanics. And sacred geometry as a science is the geometric shape that we see when we put the mathematical equations of string theory into like a computer program to generate the shaping of it, the shapes of it, right? And then you can observe those 10-dimensional shapes in like a 3-dimensional representation. And actually it does, to your point, actually, Coin Pimpin', the flower of life, some of them do represent, these ancient sacred geometries from Hinduism, which is really fascinating, actually. So like, it's fun. Like I do enjoy Metatron Cube's rule. Yeah, they're pretty, can you astro project? I lucid dream. I think that's what most people think of astro projecting is, though, is just like from my perspective, because I've never been able to prove through the places that I go when I lucid dream that they're having an effect within the real realm of reality. So I say it's just a dream. Maybe in that dream I'm in a parallel dimension or something, but we don't know. We don't know what dreams are. Who knows, right? I've been interested in sacred geometry recently. If you want to understand actual sacred geometry, you should try to. I'm trying to think of this gentleman's name. It's been so many years since I actually I built that background up. I can't think of the guy's name. He's a famous quantum physicist, though, and he's actually I think he might actually be like the father of 10D geometries, at least how to represent them and visually represent them, because obviously we can't actually visualize 4-dimensional shapes, because when we try and visualize a 4-dimensional shape as a 3-dimensional entity, really all we're doing is elongating a 3-dimensional shape, right? We just project it in one direction, and we say that tube, that tube person that walks the entire length of their life, from where they're born to the point where they die, you create there's a connection of their tube self, and that's time. And so you're really, when you're thinking of 4 dimensions, you're really just thinking of a 3-dimensional object instead of actual 4-dimensional objects. So it's really hard to visualize such a thing, right? What do you think about XLM? XRP J-Ray, I think XLM's a dead project, especially now that they burned half of their coins. or half of all the coins. They burned half of all the coins, and which is equivalent to like 70+% of all the coins the foundation holds. And yeah, it's just a dead project in my opinion. And the fact that they burned these coins, I don't understand why people got so excited and let the price pump, because the coins that they burned were the ones held by the Stellar Foundation. So it's not even coins that, you know, are in circulation. It's coins that haven't even been released to circulation. Everybody pumped up XLM on it. So I know that there's a few people in the space that were telling me that they put positions in. I said, just, you know, my friendly advice to you, make sure you operate a stop loss, because the bottom can fall out at any time, because it's purely speculation. It doesn't matter if they burn more. They could burn all of it, and guess what? There's still going to be 20 billion coins in circulation. The coins that they have left are not in circulation, so who cares if they burn them? It's not like all that they're doing then, if they burn the last 20 billion or 30 billion, however much they have left, I think it's like 35 billion that they still hold. So they still hold like just about 60% of all the coins. And so, oh, Michio Kaku speaks about quantum theory and dimensions. Yeah, Michio Kaku is a great person if you're just starting to learn, because he's really general. But like, after you listen to Michio Kaku for a while, if you think you have a grasp of that, what he's trying to convey, the theories, then start listening to Brian Greene. Brian Greene's another fantastic quantum physicist, and he gets a little more complex with it. And then if you understand them, then start reading Stephen Hawking's. Read Stephen Hawking's books, and Roger Penrose. Roger Penrose is fantastic, a fantastic physicist who they're obviously, you know, both of their books are going to be, him and Hawkins' books are going to be pretty complex stuff. I think it's Brian Greene, spelled Greene. It's an E at the end of Green. But yeah, he's oh, I love it too. It's fantastic. It's a scientific conspiracy in a sense, you know. So it's like nobody can really it's impossible to understand, you know. I mean, if anybody out there actually thinks you understand quantum mechanics, you actually don't, you know. Like, I like to feign that I understand certain aspects, but as a whole, like, it's such a overly complex field, you know. Are there any mountain lions out there? Nah. I'm actually in a park in like downtown San Diego, so there's nothing in this area. It's like I'm surrounded by city around here. It's just a relatively large park, so there's not even like dingoes out here. The worst thing I got to watch out for, and it's why I'm watching the ground, is to make sure I don't run up on a rattlesnake or on a diamondback. Yeah, snakes are the one thing I got to worry about. And anybody that knows anything about rattlesnakes, they're actually not aggressive. There's rattlesnakes. There's no poisonous spiders though. Everyone in this chat is awoke, and I think most people in crypto are pretty woke. I mean, there's definitely. I mean, I feel like there's some people who. Okay, so if you know anything about your chakras, right? Like, you should. The idea is that the reason why spiritual masters is because they've opened all but their root chakra, and that's because that's your material chakra. That's your procreation, material need kind of chakra. And so the idea is that spiritual masters have all but that one open, because you can't operate all 7 open at once. It's actually, you would drain your energy and you would become exhausted. And so you'd be exhausted. And there's the thing though, is that you can have closed chakras, open chakras, or wide open chakras. And so sometimes people, when they discover their third eye, they open it wide. And when you open the third eye wide, that introduces woo-woo. Actually, that's what we're saying. Spiritual is that introduces woo-woo, and that's actually what it is. Like, you can have an open third eye, but you should not have it wide open, because then you start to believe your own bullshit, you know, to put it simply. And so And I'm not saying this from like a spiritual stance, because like, you know, like I'm ultimately scientifically minded. I just like to, a lot of people understand what these things are, a lot of people know about the chakras and these things. So like when I talk about it, I'm talking about it from like an objective stance, right? Like, okay, the third eye is your ability to perceive others beyond yourself. It's your ability to infer and have vision of patterns and things that may come to pass. But if your third eye is wide open, say, or if it's closed, you know, most people actually have a closed third eye. If you have a closed third eye, then you're going to be oblivious. You'll be like the people out there like, oh, XRP is not going to be used by banks. Okay, that's like, you're dumb if you think that. If you think that XRP is not going to be used by banks, like you're dumb, ignorant, and I don't know what else, because like it's already being used, you know. But if you have an open third eye, just open, then you'd be like, okay, well, it's going to be used by banks because that's the roadmap, and Ripple is clearly like doing everything right to get that roadmap to come to fruition. And then if you have a wide open third eye, you're saying, oh, they've already done it. It's all, there's this big conspiracy, and everybody's already in on it, and you know, the Illuminati's there, and they're all jacking each other off in the back room, and it's all done. It's already done. They're just screwing with us. They're just screwing with us, you know? That's the difference, you know? You want to have balance in all things, you know? And if you know anything about Hinduism, you know anything about Buddhism, where the chakras are explained as being legitimate features of your body, that is an underlying narrative of both of them, right? You must have balance. You must be balanced in all these things. If you are wide open in any one way, you're gonna, you know, I just had to be a little bit funny with it, you know what I mean? I always am watching. I just forgot. So good timing. Well, thank you for hitting the like, Miles. Anybody else that's in here, if you haven't hit that like yet, please do me that favor. Let's see here. Chance of a lifetime. What are the chances of Ripple burning some XRP? I don't think that they will, honestly. I think Crypto Mike was saying that he thinks that because Stellar burned some XLM, that Ripple was going to burn some of their XRP, and it's like, no, they're entirely different companies. And let's be clear, like I know that there are people out there that want to say that XRP is like the new gold, and XLM is going to be like the currency that's converted, right? I don't believe that. I don't believe that at all. I think that purely because of how Jeb left Ripple, I think that Jeb made XLM out of vengeance, out of spite for Ripple, because he was upset that he was asked to leave, and so he's like, well, fine, you're gonna tell me to leave, I'm gonna go make something better. Because, you know, when you're in this kind of environment, you know, where there's so much money to be won, and when you are involved at the top of one of these companies, you know, there's so much ego involved with it. Like, I don't care how some of these people present themselves on camera. I promise you, there is so much ego behind most all of them. I would be really surprised if there's not behind every last one of them, you know, that we know, the names, you know, there's ego behind it, I promise you. And they just do a good job of not letting that be seen. Yeah, XLM is dying. DNI, 100 billion XRP may not be enough for Ripple to penetrate even 50% of the global financial markets they're penetrating or marketing to. Yeah, I don't know about that, DNI. Like, really? Like, you don't think 100 billion is enough? I mean, considering Ripple holds 5 or 50 billion, you know, I mean, if we could push the price to, you know, $10,000 per, that's $1 per, that's a lot of money. That's so many trillions of dollars in reserve. I don't know, man. I feel like it's a good number, at least with the decimal point, you know, like, because, you know, really the decimal, this is something that Bob Way pointed out to me. Bob Way pointed out, well, not just to me, everybody on the XRP chat, but I was the one conversing with him that extracted it, or got him to talk about this. But the decimal point that separates like an XRP from a drop, that's totally arbitrary, right? So we could say that there's a million drops in each XRP, and there's therefore 100 billion XRP. Or we could say that there's 100,000 drops in each XRP, and therefore there's a trillion XRP, right? They're going after markets doing quadrillions. I'm not saying it in a bad way. Yes, they can raise price of ours. So that's true. That's true, DNI, but aren't they? We have to also keep in mind that the quadrillion number that we extract, that's on a yearly basis, right? So we don't need the value to go up into the quadrillions on the market cap, because we're only, on the day we're moving trillions, right? I mean, I might be wrong with that. I don't know. I guess I don't know like the size of the daily derivatives, and that might be what you're actually talking about. I missed your point. I'm not saying they won't have enough to function. Oh no. I get what you're saying as far as like the value because of. Wait, I guess I don't know then actually, because yes, they can raise the price of ours. Do you mean, so you're talking about like from the real world value of them right now? What's up at Richie Rich? How you doing, brother? Their breakdown is 16. They have enough. Are you talking about Stellar Foundation for that XRP command center? Or Ripple, because Ripple has way more than 16. Penny a drop equals 10,000 XRP. Yeah, and I think that like that's why I even made that video. It's not even, to be clear too, anybody that's watched that video, it's not me saying that XRP is going to go to 10,000 per. I think that ultimately it will, but that's going to be more so due to hyperinflation of the dollar than value appreciation of XRP, you know what I mean? Yes, of course they can raise the price up. I believe those glitches are telling. Glitches? What glitches? Maven, how does those coin go from 25 cent to over 1K? I never even heard of it, but XRP stays below 30 cents. So you have to keep in mind that it's about the market volume right now, the amount of money going through XRP, its daily volume, the total market supply, and then how negative the crypto ecosystem as a whole is about XRP. Because you gotta keep in mind, the reason why XRP's price doesn't pump like other cryptos, whenever Bitcoin pumps, the reason XRP doesn't pump as hard is because most of those people pumping into Bitcoin, they hate the banks. They hate everything to do with traditional finance, and they think that because they're delusional, they don't understand how real world economics works, they think that they can have $1 million Bitcoin and they're still gonna be able to go to the grocery store and buy food. They think that this is all gonna work out for them in their anarcho-capitalist mindset that is devoid of the business deals that actually are required for the food to find its way into the supermarket, for Amazon to be able to ship your package to you and to accept your payments and all the underlying mechanisms. They don't understand how Amazon has debt nearly, well, I don't know what the current debt of Amazon is, but I know that it's in the hundreds of billions at least. It's probably in the trillions, really, because most businesses, even though they have these crazy revenue streams, they take out massive amounts of debt so they can finance growth. Because that's how the world works. At least right now, it's debt-based. And that's why the derivatives market exists. That's why there's so much more money in derivatives than there is money in the world, right? Wait. Dina, I said something else I missed? Hardy said something. Oh, if we can find out why David Schwartz picked the number of XRP that there are, then we can find out what the intended use case is. That's why I want to know. So that is kind of a good point. What I'll say to that though is, think of it this way. What did I think it was, I don't remember who it was from Codius. Was it Ethan Beard? Somebody was giving a presentation on Codius like a year or two ago, and they asked he asked the rhetorical question, so what's how much of the world's money is Cody targeting? And he like clicked his little clicker, and the slide changed, and it said all the money. And he said, yeah, all the money. Exactly. And everybody started laughing, and he was really proud of himself, because that's how big their market is. They're going after all of it. Ignorance isn't bliss. In a way it is. Because when you're learning, when you're progressing, from a state of ignorance to a state of awareness, or, enlightenment, whatever term you want to use, when you're on that path to enlightenment, it's extremely tumultuous. It's extremely challenging. It's not fun at all. You're going to at many times feel like the world is against you. You're going to at many times feel like there is no way for you to ever put any of this knowledge that you're coming into to use for you. And this is why most people choose to live in ignorance, because the world's a terrible place, and they can never hope to change it. They can never hope to even benefit in this world that has all these terrible things going on. And that's because they don't understand that it's individuals. They as individuals can only benefit from this world that's so full of horrible things if they choose to engage with it. If they choose to play by its rules, so that until the point where they have played by the rules long enough that they have gained the power to start bending the rules, to start breaking things and moving on, right? And that's what we're witnessing happen with Ripple right now. They have gained so much political power, so much financial power and institutional power, that they are now able to break things and move on in a very controlled way, because we're talking about finance, obviously, but they're still able to do that, right? And so we as investors are now, many of us who have significant bags, if we are emotionally stable enough when the price finally starts to rise, to hold out and to diversify and de-risk into safe markets so that we don't lose everything that we make off of this, then we will ourselves have that same opportunity to pursue whatever change it is we want to see in this world. And hopefully, most of y'all who watch me, at least, hopefully you're not a bunch of a-holes that want to just get rich just to go have fat Lambos or fat booty bitches and Lambos, right? Like hopefully you guys actually have some legitimate, genuine childhood dreams and goals that you would like to see come to fruition, so that the world can be a better place, and so that when you die, because you're gonna die, every last one of us are gonna die. I'm gonna die someday. Every one of the 195 people in this chat, you're gonna die someday. When you die, how about you make sure that, since we're gonna be rich, we're probably all gonna be rich, hopefully, that you actually have done something worthy of being remembered after you die. That should be your goal. If you think you're gonna have $1 million, what are you gonna be remembered for? The idiot who blew $1 million on some bullcrap, or that guy who took his or girl, because there are women in here, that individual who took their $1 million and made the world a significantly better place for the generations that came after them, right? Long game. Do you as an entity disappear from this world the day you die, the day your last descendant dies, your child dies, or maybe your grandchildren, if you know your grandchildren, if you have that blessing to know your grandchildren or great-grandchildren. When they pass, will you be remembered? Because if you're not remembered, you're gone. If your memory is gone from this world, you are gone. So, make an impact that's going to outlast your great-grandchildren. That should be your goal. That should be all of our goals. It's my goal, at least, hopefully. Hopefully I get to achieve it. We'll see. I guess it just depends on how dedicated I stay to this cause, right? Or how successful I am in the areas which I wish to target, and in the ways in which I hope to change the world myself. And hopefully each of you can come up with your own goals, and maybe if there's some really cool people out there we can collaborate and help each other on our own goals, similar to how the world's elites do now. We just got to make sure that we're doing things a little more efficiently. We're not at each other's throats like they are. Because really, when you look at the world's such a terrible place, not because the ruling elite are all these totalitarian rulers over top of us, all sitting in a boardroom together, but instead they're sitting in their little cliques like high schoolers, right? You just got this thing of the world's elites. They all go to the same high school. Sure, they might all go to the same high school, but they all got their own table at the lunchroom, and they're all talking to each other about how much they hate the other group. And oh man, I'm gonna really stick it to that guy. That dang tech industry over there. Screw those guys. They're stepping on our oil industry over here. Man, oil's the best, man. We got rock and roll. We got hot rods. What do they got? Some stupid computers. Stupid nerds. Stupid nerds. That's the real world. That's how the elites actually function. They're in their own little cliques. Mean guys. That would be a great movie. $1 million doesn't too that far. To be honest, Jose, if you have $1 million, the only reason that $1 million will not go extremely far is because you don't know how to spend $1 million properly. And so if you don't think $1 million goes far, my first suggestion to you, if you think you're going to get $1 million, is to figure out how you're going to make that $1 million into $5 million, and then how you're going to make that $5 million into 10. Because the idea isn't that you're going to go give away your money. The idea isn't that you're going to blow that money on nice stuff for yourself. If you only get $1 million, if you come out of this like with $100 million, like if you have over $400 million, it's really actually hard to lose that kind of money. Like you have to be like the world's greatest fuck up to actually spend $400 million, because the interest alone should be challenging for you to spend, all right? So if you have that kind of money, if you have $1 million, or if you even have $10 million and you're in that range, you shouldn't be spending that money on yourself. You should be spending that money pursuing something that you understand very well. Whatever it is that you understand in this world, whether it's music, whether it's education, whether it's finance, if you're an investor kind of person, you understand trading. If it's anything, whatever it is that is your focus, your passion that you've been passionate about your whole life, that's what you should be spending the money on. Not going and living large, but living in the dirt, in the shit, chasing whatever your dream is, That's how you're supposed to spend that money, because if you spend it doing that, you're going to be making more money than you can spend, because when you're doing something that you're passionate about as a career, it might take you a few years to blow up, to turn it into a success, but if you stick to it, it's going to turn out good. As long as you have that drive for it. I can't tell you what your drive is. I know what mine is. Whatever yours is yours, and you have to stick to it. You should be sticking to it right now, but some people just don't have that luxury because you have kids or whatever, and so you can't. Free tennis lessons for all. See, don't do free, Coach Mike. If you're like really good at tennis, then what you should be doing is start a gym in an area where you think that you could train up some really good tennis stars, and then create a brand around your education facility for tennis, for football, for whatever it is. You have to think with a business mind with whatever your passion is, and think of it this way: what you're going to have with XRP, that's your investment into your startup, whatever that startup is. If you're putting your money towards anything other than your career, your self-employed dream that may employ a few other people too, then you're doing it wrong. Create a passive income, another after this moon. And that's another good idea, DB. If you don't know what you're going to do, if you don't know what you want to do, then you should be doing that too. And I think that that's a good thing to do, even if you know what you want to do. You should have a passive income, right? You should have a few rentals. You should have a few places that you're renting out to make an income for yourself while you're spending the rest of that investment towards your business. So that if the business fails, at least you will still have free time. At least your time will still be free, so that you can think about how you're going to make back all that money you blew on this idea that didn't work out, because you're making money from your rentals, you know, and that's not going to be too much. Hopefully, if you set it up properly, that's not going to be too much time from your day to keep that money flow income, that income coming. But yeah, it's a lot of people just don't think of how to spend their money, how to invest their money. I'm not a financial investor or advisor, but you know, it's like there's tons of ways that you can better yourself. That you don't need a financial advisor to tell you. You just gotta do some research. You know, real estate right now is key, but I would also still, even though I say that, I would not be investing in real estate today. You know what I mean? Not today. Silver, absolutely. I'd buy up silver in a heartbeat. Gold, I think it's a good time to buy gold, just because of the situation with the stock market, just because of the situation with fiats and the currency market right now. Gold's a steal. Silver is a super steal. It's 900. Silver should be $900 an ounce right now, and it's not even 20. So what is that? 5 times 9. So 45 times undervalued for silver right now. Gold's only like 5 times undervalued, mind you. You know, it's like, why are you investing in XRP and not Bitcoin? Because the returns are going to be better, right? Queen owns 1/3 of world land you rent. Does she still? I know that at one time the British royals did own most or like a considerable portion of the land in the world, but I don't know how true that is now, because that would mean that she doesn't own Canada anymore. So how could that be? Because she doesn't own Russia, she doesn't own China, and she doesn't own Canada or Brazil, and those are like two of the largest land masses, or like those are the largest land masses by capita. Somebody. There was no coherence to it. There was no coherence to it. I'll look into it, Tyson. I'll look into it. Silver and gold are worthless when people are hungry. That's my opinion. So, I mean, I don't think that we're going to have to worry about that, to be honest. I don't think that we're going to see, like, a lot of people are afraid that, where are you going, Mag? I'm just walking, dude. I'm just walking. We're just walking around the park. And apparently there's somebody, like, tweaking out that's, like, just having a day with their bicycle. Their green bike. It's not even their bicycle, it's a green bike. And you'll find these green bikes out all destroyed out here too, because like these homeless, like some of these like cracked out homeless people like just tear them apart for whatever reason. Destroy them for, it's stupid. Anyway, got some MoneyGram. I don't have MoneyGram yet. I've been so focused on stacking XRP that I'm not worried about it. But the point I was gonna make about gold and silver is that I don't think that we need to worry about food disappearing. I don't think that we're going to see that kind of, we don't have a you know, the crisis that's coming is a financial crisis. It's not a supply shortage. It's not a shortage of food or a shortage of crap to buy. It's a shortage of investment, of sound investment options for people to put their money so they can appreciate as they grow older, so that they can hope to someday retire. All right, so that's why the markets are in such a scary place right now. But it's not going to result in, you know, when this all comes due, those who are going to suffer the most, in my opinion, are actually going to be the world's current elite. Those who have the most money in the bank. And if they're not smart, they're actually going to be hurt real bad by the fact that the money they don't have in the bank, or the money they have in the stock market, if they try and pull it back into fiat, they're going to be in trouble, because fiat's going away. That's the bubble. The bubble is the dollar bubble. We call it the everything bubble, but it's not the everything bubble, it's the dollar bubble. XRP, gold, silver, heirloom seeds, ammunition, clean water, decent community skills. Yeah, see, like you guys are playing for collapse. Hopefully you have true seeds, because real seed does not, it's hard to come by nowadays, because most of the seed that you've got, if you've gotten your seed from any produce that you picked up from the store or anything, that is a non-germable seed. It will not produce seed. You cannot create seed from anything that's come from Monsanto. And Monsanto is like 80% of the world's seed now or some craziness. So like, most people don't have real seed. And so it's like, I don't think most people realize how screwed they won't be fine, because think about it this way. When things collapse, it's always the elites that get killed first. When society collapses, it's always the top who pays first, because it's the bottom who rise up against the top, kill them, tar and feather them, then kill them, and then in that new power vacuum, those people who rose up, who the people followed, they become the new elites, and the cycle rinses and repeats over the next 3 to 4 generations. It's just like, look at any revolution, look at any time in history. The French Revolution, the American Revolution, the Irish revolutions, look at them all. Look at them all. That's how we're talking about revolutions, because Guy Fawkes did. And how anytime that power loses control, you create a power vacuum that somebody new rises up in, and that new person that rises up is going to become just as corrupt as the old leader. Hopefully, with this blockchain revolution though, the new tyranny, if whatever new tyranny rises up, because those in power will always be tyrannical, unless it's maybe an AI will not suffer from tyranny or the drive to tyranny, because they will not be emotional beings like humans, but they'll still probably be tyrannical in some regard, by some definition. When is the bull run for XRP? Who knows? You talking right now, Jeff Hardy? I'm talking about any kind of power struggle. You know what I mean? Oh, it's good iron. Hey, it's going. But yeah, so like anytime there's any kind of power struggle anywhere, it's not just ISIS. It wasn't just. I think that's probably like a trigger word for the algos. I can't talk about that one probably. But when it comes to any extremist group, you know what I mean? They have gained power because there is no centralized, organized power system in place, and so they are enabled. That's how rebels are able to rise to power, because the powers that be do not have dominion over the areas which the rebels have risen up in. And so and that will apply anywhere in the world. It's not just in the Middle East that these kind of things will happen. It'll happen anywhere where there's a power vacuum, because humans, it doesn't matter where you go in this world, you will find power-hungry humans. You will always find somebody who is ready to rise to the occasion when they're given that opportunity. And it could be somebody who's no financially better than me, or somebody who's middle class, or somebody who's upper class. They just aren't in the class, the ruling class. And they will rise if they can gain the ability to. If they can find a bubble, or they can find a vacuum, and they can stand in the middle of it. The groypers are doing God's work. I don't know what the groypers are. The world runs on credit. That's why we could be a food shortage with a financial crisis. But here's the issue. How do you have a food shortage from a money shortage? Because the food's still there. The food's still at the grocery. The food's still growing in the fields. The food's still moving. At least until unless the whole system collapses. But here's the thing. If the whole system collapses, anybody that's watching this video, there's a 95 to 99% chance you're dead. There's nothing you're doing that you don't die. Because you're going to starve to death. 99% of people will starve to death. I promise you, you do not have enough food to outlast the mayhem that will unfold over the course of 2 years. I highly doubt that unless you are already in the upper class, that you have the money and capital to put away the food to create the shelter that's secure enough that you're not going to be overrun by a horde of people looking for food that will eat you at the end of the day. Because that's what's really going to happen if that's the way things go, right? And that's not going to happen. I don't see that happening, to be completely honest. How long can the body go without any food? It depends on your weight. Fatter people are better off. The fatter you are, the longer you'll live. You got cows. How long you think those cows are going to last before somebody or some horde of roaming raiders or bandits swings by your property to kill you and to take over your property until another horde of bandits comes by, and eventually they're going to deplete the cows. You know, most Americans don't keep in mind the fact that by and large, there's so many of us, we eat so much here in America that we can't even sustain ourselves on our arable land here in America. There's not even enough land here in America for us to do that. You know, so effects of the hey Jade, thanks for your amazing content, man. Do you think that Stellar has burnt those tokens because they know that Ripple is doing everything right, thus reducing the amount to maximize the effect of the upcoming bull run? I don't think that something you gotta keep in mind is that what they've done is not going to have any impact on the upcoming bull run. It's just not. Because the tokens that Stellar burned were not in circulation, and they have never been in circulation. They're tokens that are locked away in their fund that has never touched an exchange, and so it will never, ever, 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 ever be more impactful on the price than it was when it was just in their wallet. Them burning the token, to me, says that the Stellar Foundation does not see promise in, I'll pull that across just so it's not looking so ready, even though it's just like seeing my back seat that's black. But yeah, it doesn't, the burning of the tokens does not do anything for the supply that's in circulation. Founder of Stellar worked with Bank. Yeah, Tyson. Judd McCaleb was fired. Now we can say it politely. We can say that Judd McCaleb was let go, was asked to leave, but he was fired from Ripple because he tried to get his girlfriend put on the board of directors so that the two of them could have more political power, more corporate power within Ripple's hierarchy. And so because the other founders at Ripple are not a bunch of idiots, they saw what Jeb was trying to do and they asked him to leave. Deny his whatever, the attempt to put her on his foundation, on the board of directors, and asked him to leave after. XLM has no use case. Exactly right, crypto man. XLM has no use case. They've lost their strategic partnership with IBM. Like it's all but dead. With everything, like in all fairness, you can say that partnership's dead because there's not a single person from Stellar working with IBM anymore. Every person from the Stellar Foundation that was working with IBM has been removed from their position at IBM. So it doesn't matter. It doesn't change the fact that it's forked to Ripple. It's not forked to Ripple, okay? So like the supply is not connected. They're two totally separate coins. So who cares? Who cares if XLM is made from the same code as XRP? That doesn't Bitcoin Gold, Bitcoin. Why are you telling me to rotate, you stupid phone? Bitcoin Gold and Bitcoin Diamond are forks of Bitcoin, but they're not worth $10,000. They're not even worth $1,000. They're not worth crap, right? So it doesn't matter. Who cares that somebody made a token based upon Ripple or based upon the XRP consensus algorithm? That doesn't do anything, right? That doesn't affect either's price. That's why XLM is. Here, I need to apparently turn this, and yeah, can you chill, phone? Sorry guys, it's gonna look really weird for a second, but my phone is like trying to demand that I rotate. Now that they're trying to fork, or that not they try that they forked the code to make their own token, because they're not there. It's not like XLM is part of XRP. They're just based upon the same code. That's all a fork is at the end of the day. And it wasn't even a. I didn't think XLM was a hard fork. Actually, it wasn't a hard fork, right? Yeah, what's up, Andrew Nation? How's it going, brother? It's been a long time. Sorry, been off my schedule. No worries. Glad you're able to make into the stream. I'm actually running quite late into the stream right now. You know what I mean? You jumped in. Your question was answered. Oh, is that your question about how XLM works and how the foundation works? Glad that I was able to answer, bro. What's up, Legend? How you doing, bro? I just now seen your comment. I don't think a collapse has to be that severe. The depression was pretty bad, and we were to go. Yeah, I mean, really, if we went into another Great Depression type scenario, it would be catastrophic. Like it would just be terrible, because you have to figure that in the Great Depression, the most common job in the Great Depression was farming. Okay, that was before the Great Depression was before the Industrial Revolution even, right? So most people during the Great Depression, they just went out and farmed up a chunk of land because there weren't enough people, or there were enough people, or there weren't enough people to deplete all the land. And people were self-sufficient back then. They didn't need a job. They just go and live off their land and live a simple life. You cannot do that nowadays. You know, like, I think it's like 80% or 70% of all people in America live in a city. Okay? There's not enough land on this planet for Americans to all go and farm their own land. Well, that's a lie. There's not enough land in the, just won't work. I don't care what you say. You can run the numbers. You can run the numbers on this. Google the amount of arable land in America, divide that by, I think it would be like 10 acres. It might actually be more. I think it's like 10 acres of land growing crops on, where you can sustain one person for a course of a year off of vegetation. There's not enough land in America. Now, you might live in Australia and you might say that it's so empty, but I know just what I know of Australia, most of it is arable land. You can't go and grow food out in the frickin' sticks out there. You can't go start a farm up. Everybody in Australia gonna go from the coast. You're gonna go in the mainland. They're going to face off all the dangerous creatures that are out there. So that might help thin the herd of Australians out there, so that enough of y'all die from not having anti-venom, from going and messing around with all the dangerous killer stuff out there, right? All the babies going to get eaten by dingoes, right? So you can go and do that, right? And you're gonna thin the herd real quick still, right? Just because of how dangerous the outback is. But then you still run into the problem that most of Australia is not farmable land. It's just not. So you have to rely on the wildlife, and there's not enough wildlife for most people in Australia. Even like 30% of Australia's population to survive. You know what I mean? Cool. Aboriginals live there thousands of years. Do you know how many Aboriginals there are? There ain't no millions of Aboriginals. Do you understand population dynamics, my brother? Do you not realize how many people there are on this freaking planet? Even in Australia, how many people are in Australia? I don't know how many are in Australia right now. I think it's probably like, isn't it like 30 million or something like that? I know it's in the deca millions. You are not going to tell me that there's enough arable land in Australia for that many millions of people to go out and live off the land. Sorry. I don't care. I don't care if there were 1 million Aboriginals that did it. They'd be all spread out all over the friggin' place too. There'd be colonies all over Australia if that were the case, right? The word Aboriginal means not originally from, not what people use it for. Yeah, well, I mean, that would make sense when you think about it, because Aboriginals, I mean, they migrated to Australia, like, you know, way back when there was actually a land bridge, you know. Do I believe this world is overpopulated? 7 billion people, yes. I 100% believe that it is overpopulated to all hell and back. If you look at Google Maps and look at how much of our planet we humans have an impact on, yes. When I can look at a map and I can say that there is more farmland than wildland on this planet, yes. We are nearing a point of peak population. And the only way that we get around that is if we find a way to aerate desert. If we find a way, just use Google Maps. It's clear. Like, you have to be brain dead to think that we're not already peaking out. And that's because we have so much inarable land. God created world to fail. No, God. Now we get into some. Now we're getting into religion, and I'm not even gonna touch that one with you, brother. You can go talk with that with your family and friends, because we're not gonna talk about religion on my chicken of worms that I'm not even opening up. Because now we've gone from objective, like, data science to, well, I'm gonna throw my belief system into this that you can't argue with, because nobody can argue with another human being's belief system, because we believe what we believe, and I'm not gonna argue with what you believe. You believe what you believe, I'll believe what I believe. But when it comes to data, data's data, and nobody can argue with data. That's why it's data. That's why we use it for global trade. That's why nations that killed each other for hundreds of years have managed to come together and work in partnerships, because data is more powerful than beliefs. At least in this physical world, right? I won't get into what that means for your soul if you believe in a soul. Even believe in a soul out there. I don't even want to get into that, you know. But how Australia becoming a part of China, there won't be any Australians left soon. I actually don't know anything about that, Remus, but you can debate that with Tyson here. Drive from one state or state to another. We are not overpopulated. We are inefficient. XRP Potato, I drove a semi truck for a living for a few years. I have drove every square inch of this country over those 2 years that I did that. I know just how overpopulated we are. I know just how little land is not farmed in this country, and it's terrifying how we are now trying to plant crops. We're diverting water into deserts just to grow crops. And look at what's happening. We're having wildfires, the likes of which are unprecedented, because we are trying to grow vegetation in places where you just shouldn't be trying to grow vegetation, because we're trying to expand how much land we can farm, because we've gone that far now. Like, it's like, I don't understand how anybody can think that we're not. Like you have to live in a bubble to think that we're not. Really, brother, really. I've traveled the country. I've traveled all over America. Have you? Because I can say without certainty of a doubt that I've been to almost every single city in this country. Every city that's got over 1 million people I've been to at this point. And I've drove most of the roadways in between. Okay, so you're not going to blow smoke up my butt when it comes to that. What'd Andrew say here? Who's your data? Who's your data? We are massively overpopulated. If you take into account how much we use fossil fuels to make our site, that too, Pat B. That's another good point. You thought I had an open mind? I thought you had an open mind watching my channel, brother. You don't even understand the fact that what Pat B just pointed out, how prolific that statement alone is. You know what I mean? You are not going to survive. You are not going to convince me that all the humans that live, even, just using my country, for example, America, you are not going to convince me that Americans are going to be able to have enough land, if they all spread out, to be able to sustain themselves. There is not enough. And you would not be able to even farm that land. They wouldn't even be able to efficiently farm that land because we've fallen so much onto the reliance of diesel to make it as efficient as we have to this point, to produce as much as we have. You're not going to have the pesticides and the crops, the heat resistant crops, the pest resistant crops, and all these other advancements that we've had as a society that we've advanced to ensure the yield of those crops is going to put out enough food that they already are right now. We are so efficient, it's not even funny. Okay, one of the reasons why we have 7 billion people on this planet today is because we have grown so efficient over the centuries. If you don't think the humans are efficient, like, go back just like not even before I think it's like 1600 or 1400s, and look at the fact that they were projecting that we were going to cap on our food production and we were going to have a mass dying from starvation then, because they didn't have oil, they didn't have pesticides, they didn't have all the things that we've learned to abuse and utilize in modern day so that everybody can have calories still. Like, that's some obscene insanity that you don't think that we are wholly dependent on this society maintaining itself for most of us to live. And I don't care how tough of a guy you think you are, I don't care how much of a survivalist you think you are, when you have in America, 300 million other people that you're competing against to survive for food that will kill you just to eat you so they can live, it doesn't matter. You're playing a gambling game. It's a matter of luck. You will not survive by skill alone in that. You will be lucky to live. It doesn't matter how tight your small town of 500 or 1,000 people is. When roving bandits, when people coming from cities in mass, in hundreds of thousands, start roaming the lands looking for food, it doesn't matter how tight-knit your little tribe of 500 people in your little small town is who know how to take care of that land. When those people come out looking, they're going to wipe out everybody just by pure numbers. If you actually understand anything about the human nature when it comes to survival, when survival instinct kicks in, we become just as much animals as a gorilla or a lion. It will not be pretty. It will not end well. Do not bet on that outcome being a way for you to get ahead in life, because it won't. Okay? The only way humans continue on this planet as we are is if we somehow, by miraculous God-given right, are permitted to continue to advance. Okay? If we have a collapse, it's done. Because we don't even have the resources left on this planet after collapse to come back from it. We've screwed up our planet so much that if we collapse now, there won't even be time for generations to try and catch up before they die, because this planet's going to hell. The only way we save this, the only way this planet doesn't die at this point is from human intervention, because that's how far we've destroyed it. Look at the Great Barrier Reef. The Great Barrier Reef is all but dead. 80% has bleached and died. That single location in the ocean held over 20% of all marine life. Think about how much that means, how much life went extinct within the last 5 years, just from that one location dying out. And now think about the Amazon, the rainforests, and we're obliterating them. Oh yeah, global warming might not be a thing, but terrain destruction is, because we're a bunch of dumb monkeys who only care about money. And guess what? You can't eat money. Somebody was saying earlier, you can't eat gold and silver. You can't eat money either. Right? It doesn't matter how much money you make, but that's all anybody thinks about in this world. And that's why we're probably going to die off, because we're thinking about what we are utilizing, the things that keep us alive. We're not prioritizing those over the thing that this fictional bullcrap that we're all trying to get rich off of right now. All right? Like, I'm just as guilty as everybody else in this chat, wanting to make money in XRP. But I want to make money in XRP because I see the writing on the fucking wall. And I know that if there isn't enough people who see this writing, see what we need to do as a species, and find some fucking way out of it, we're done. Like, I know that's some heavy stuff, but seriously, like, it's just absurd. Absolutely, sir. Yeah, time to move to Mars after all. Birdie B, why you think I've been saying it, brother? Why you think I've been saying it? Why you think I've been saying that for the beginning of this channel? Why you think I say I'm a Martian? Why? Because I know that the only I would rather take a bet on us finding a way to survive on a fucking planet that has sub-zero temperatures and no oxygen in its environment. I believe that we'd find a way to survive there before we find a way for all the people here to get their heads out their collective rear ends so that we can keep this planet habitable. That's how little faith I have in this species. Because I call myself a Martian because I sit here and look at all that's actually going on. I'm like, how are people so oblivious? How are people this dense that they are not able to see what's going on a big scheme? Because nobody wants to. Because everybody's afraid to go and look and study the data to observe how horribly, inefficient, or not inefficient, but how the directionality that we are as a society heading if we do not take serious steps towards sustainable future. And you can say that global warming is a conspiracy all you want. Maybe the temperature fluctuation is, okay? I don't know. No, we don't have enough data on it because we've only been doing that for 100 years. And when you drill in ice cores, you have samples from like hundreds of thousands, millions of years in in core samples. And so we can't say for certain that the temperature fluctuation is something that this life can't sustain. But we can say that we've never had carbon, we've never had such highly acidic oceans since the Great Permian extinction, which is an extinction event which resulted in 99.5% of all life on this planet dying. And it took over 1 billion years for life to recover from that. And we're right there, and we're pretending that's not a big deal. Oh, that's not scary. Who cares? They're a bunch of dumb insects back then. Well, guess what? We're a bunch of dumb monkeys who are doing to our planet what volcanoes did to those dumb insects. So who's really dumber? Us or the insects that had no choice but to try and survive through that extinction event? Jeff Hardy 199, thank you, brother. Preach it, brother. I appreciate you. No, I'm sorry that you guys got me on. Yeah, depopulation is their plan. Well, you know what, Tyson? They better start effectively acting on that plan. Otherwise, they're going to die too, and there's not going to be a planet left for them. And the reality is, I don't think that they even have that as a plan. I don't think that's a plan. Do you know why? Because brain power is the most valuable resource on this planet. Anybody that thinks that there's a plan to kill off most people doesn't understand how important this thing between your head is when you put it to use. Our ability to think through extremely complex situations and give birth to things that can do the same thing, and sometimes by miracles, one that's born just happens to be such a brilliant individual that they're able to revolutionize entire industries. Look at Elon Musk, right? One person. What Elon Musk, one person has done. And imagine there's one of those born every day. Only out of every 10 years, though, only one that's born over every day, over 10 years, only one of those is being lifted up right now. And given that chance to make the change necessary. So I don't think there's any plan to depopulate. I think there's a plan to uplift. Because I like to believe that by and large, most people genuinely want good for the world, because they want good not for themselves, just for themselves, but for their children and their children's children, especially those in power. Because the only people who care only about themselves are the people at the bottom who can only see past their own nose. Those at the top don't have that luxury. Those at the top are thinking legacy. They're thinking their children's future, their children's children's future. While those at the bottom are the only ones thinking about, oh, who am I going to go out and have sex with tonight? That's the difference. And that's why whenever you hear people say that there's this plan for depopulation, it's like, no. The only people thinking about depopulation are those strictly at the bottom who can't see beyond their own lives, who can't see beyond their own lives, not even their children's lives. They're so egotistical they can't even see their own children's lives future. That's why the world's going this shitty way that it is. And there's a lot of people in power that are in that same mindset, right? I won't deny that. There's a lot of people in this world who think that they know best, and that their business is the best business, and therefore their business is the only business that matters. But guess what? We're an interconnected species. We're an interconnected business, an interconnected society. You don't get away from it. There's no way out of this. We are in this thing together, and there's no way that any one person is going to make anything better. It's a collective thing that has to happen. That's why my plan with my money is not to go and start my own business, but to start a school where I'm going to provide the best humanly possible education to the most intellectually gifted individuals who are not being given those privileges right now. Because that's my belief is that if you enable those people, those children who are not being given the opportunity they should be, specifically because they're gifted, and they're not because they're born poor or they're born into a nation doesn't have a good education system. If you enable them, specifically them, the world will change within a decade. So many problems that we see will be gone because of them, collectively, not any one person. But people don't think that for whatever reason. People are dumbasses. I don't know. All part of Rothschild's plan, dude. Enjoy the ride. And that's another thing, you know, like people are like conspiratorial like that. Like, I'm sorry, brother. Like, that's just conspiratorial, AKB. Like, okay, Rothschild Bank has had serious power, serious financial power for decades. Granted. But at the same time, there is other powerhouses in other industries that have just as much power. Actually, Google has more power than them. Google has more power than all the banks combined. Why? Because they control what you see. They control what you see here on YouTube, they control what you see on Google, and they control what websites you discover even exist. All your knowledge comes based to you primarily because of Google. And so they control this world far more than the Rothschilds. I don't care what Chris Larson was saying the other day at the San Francisco blockchain conference, where he said that data is important, but money can buy bullets. No, ideas can put sentiment behind a bullet, and that's what makes the gun go off. Is you convincing somebody to pull that trigger. It doesn't matter how many bullets you have, until somebody convinces you that you need to put those in somebody's head. You're not pulling the trigger. That's the real power. The power over the human mind, the power over the human spirit. And that's what Google has. That's what Facebook has. That's what Twitter has. And we all sit around and act like it's not a big deal either. Metho Nelson, are you a Leo? No, brother, I am a Gemini. I am the worst. I need to research more? Brother, I've lived in front of a computer screen my entire life. My mother is in this chat room. You could ask her. She will pledge to this. There's not been more than like a day of my life that I haven't sat in front of a fucking computer trying to understand this world. I promise that at 30, anybody else in this room who's not 30, I promise you I've done more research than you. I promised it. I promise that at 30, I've probably done more research than most people in their 70s. Because I live, breathe, and eat trying to understand this world. 7 to 8 hours a day. I am so broke in life. I've not accomplished any careers because I've prioritized learning over making money. Tyson, I promise you don't, bro. I promise. Arrogance is real AF. Arrogance is real. And you know what? When it comes to, but the thing is, the reason why I'm saying this is because I've literally lived as a fucking nerd. There's a reason my arm, I can put my hand around it and look at that gap. It's because I don't go out. I sit in front of a fucking computer all day. I sit here researching all day. I don't go talk to people. I haven't done that my whole damn life. The only time away from a screen that I've spent most of my life is like a few hours whenever I just get so anxious that I go and like blow things up in a video game for a few hours. And that's not even the majority of that's not even like 3 to 4 hours a day that I'd spend. Even when I was really big in the games. Well, when I really big, I might spend like 4. But by and large, I spent 8+ hours every damn day, even when I was in school, researching from the second I got a computer. We have the resources to feed the world. Our government are just corrupt, and the whole we're inefficient as careless. Okay, so XRP Potato. When it comes to resources, yes, you are right. You are absolutely right. We definitely have an issue when it comes to financing and distribution of goods. That is true. That is absolutely true. So when it comes to inefficiencies in distribution of food to people out there in the world, you're absolutely right. We put so much goes to waste, goes to the top, to Americans, that's why there's food crises in Africa. But here's the reality. If you're eating every day, you do not have the right to complain about food going around, because if you're in a first world country, I promise you don't have food issues. I promise. You think you do? Go live in Africa. Go live in almost any African nation. Try it. South Africa, the exception. Is Israel a trusted ally or Russia's backdoor to the West? I think that I don't even know I can talk about that without YouTube blacklisting me in a hell of a way. I will say that my views on Israel are socially not acceptable. My views on Middle East, Western, and Russia is, just so we're clear, Russia is a Western power. And so from my perspective, Western powers are the reason for everything going on in the Middle East. And I do not believe that what has unfolded in the Middle East since the end of World War II should have ever began. Leave it at that. If the world does end, I at least hope it's due to a zombie. That'd be fun, right, cellmate? But you know what? It is going to be that's how most people will look at it. When you are seeing a starving human looking at you like lunch, you'll think you're in a zombie apocalypse. Only they're not going to be a dumb zombie. They're going to be an semi-intelligent, however intelligent of a human being you're up against. That's what you're going to have coming out hunting you. Yeah, zombies are real. They're called human beings, and when they're human beings that's starving. That's the real zombie apocalypse. The real zombie apocalypse. Something I like thinking about zombie apocalypse is that zombie apocalypse movies are made to warn the elites that they should never cross the masses. Because zombie apocalypse movies, those survivors, those are the elites who are now fleeing from the masses who are about to eat them. We already are zombies, man. Living through the day, jumping from dopamine kick to dopamine kick. Exactly, Coyote. Exactly. That's too true, brother. And that's the other thing. Most people out here in the world, I will say this. When it comes to people investing in cryptocurrencies, most of us are pretty woke when it comes to the dopamine. I don't think that many people in crypto could say, realistically, even those people that I'm disagreeing with in my chat right now, I don't think that many of those people can say that they're out here looking for a dopamine rush when it comes to crypto. They're out here, the people that are actually serious about this are like scratching their head, banging their head against the wall every day, trying to understand what the hell we're looking at and understand just how big it is, understand if we're crazy for what we're looking at, and try to put this into a box. And it's hard, and it obviously most people, it makes sense. A person that doesn't understand XRP, it makes perfect sense why they think that. But at the end of the day, I'm over a year every day, 12 for XRP over the last year. I put at least 12 hours a day, if not more, every single solitary day into researching this space for over a year, just XRP. And it's I've not been able to disprove it. Okay, I've spent that whole time trying to disprove this to myself too, and that's how I find news. That's how I find things for you that I bring to you. Is me trying to disprove what we're witnessing unfolding to myself, so that I can be the first person to come out and say, "Hey guys, it's a big conspiracy." Time to meditate. You sound pissed off. Now, Dirk, it's just me being passionate, brother. Whenever I start talking about something that like I've spent a long time trying to understand, that's just how I come off. Yeah, nobody's forcing anybody to be here. No. I've been a chef for 24 years now, homeless by choice, no welfare, hate the system. So we're same boat in a way, but I do believe there is a better way. So, you are homeless by choice as a chef. No welfare, hate the system. I'm not. I will say this too. We both have never been on welfare, brother. That's when I was a little kid, like when I was a child, but that's a little bit different. You do sound upset. Don't let people get to you. Yeah, Pina, I'm not actually. It's just like whenever I get passionate, I do. I yell. I don't know why. I think like maybe our family likes to joke that we're Italian. We're not, but, it's just the Italian in us, right? Don't get caught up with silly comments people make. Talk about people. Stop. And it's talking about things that I'm passionate about. It's really why it sounds like that, right? You were a chef for 24 years. Okay. John Gill, $10. Brother, thank you so much for the $10. Earth would survive and recover the collapse of human race. We need to come together to save ourselves. We do. We absolutely need to save ourselves. And life will probably survive. Just not complex life. To be clear, like the system that we're in right now, most ecosystems are going to collapse. And there's nothing we can do anymore about it. Most all ecosystems on this planet are going to collapse. So almost all apex predators, so most mammalian life is going to go extinct. Most insects, most like plant life's going to probably survive. It's probably going to thrive actually. Any plant life that does not utilize insects for reproduction, so non-flowering plants, they're going to survive. They're going to thrive. And there will probably be fish species that survive. There will probably be plenty of fish that survive. But we're going to witness the shrinking back of life on this planet, no matter what now. It's set in stone. We already pushed the button, and it's nothing that humans, there's nothing that life can possibly do outside of human interventionism to genetically modify species that will be adapted to it, because life does not genetically adapt quick enough for the positive or negative feedback loops, however you want to look at the weather feedback loops that we've triggered. They can't be reversed, or they can't be adapted through, right? They may be reversed without human intervention, but it will take millions of years. If biological life has to reverse the damage that humans have done, it will take millions of years, brother. But thank you for the $10 donation. I definitely do agree with your underlying sentiment that, this is really about us saving ourselves more than anything. You know what I mean? Yeah, digital asset. It's really, I'm just passionate about what I'm talking about, and it's aggravated, at least sounding that way. Yeah, it might be. There is probably aggravation. It's because most people do not have a broad enough. Like most people have like a very broad grasp of reality, or they have a very narrow but deep grasp of a very specific set of things. And I have a shallow, like not like puddle shallow, but like, if you compare a puddle to a lake to an ocean, I'd say most people are like a puddle that spans the surface of a planet. That's like the jack of all trades. Then you have other people who are an ocean, or not, a puddle in diameter, but an ocean deep on a single thing. Like when it comes to like maybe like people that actually really understand the programming behind blockchain, those people, they're like a sinkhole you step in and you're just gonna fall forever on that one little topic. Whereas I like to see my knowledge set is like a lake, right? Like it's very, very broad, but it's also pretty deep. It's not, you know, it's not like an ocean, a shallow ocean, you know, like puddle deep ocean size knowledge set, because I focus on specific areas and I dig deep into it as deep as I can understand, and then move on. And I've done that for my entire life. You know, I moved and I did it in a methodical way. I've done it in a very methodical way. I had stuck to physics until I understood physics, and then I started trying to understand quantum physics. And when I couldn't understand the mathematics behind quantum physics, I moved on to chemistry and biology. And when I understood the basics of that, that's when I moved on to psychology and neurology. And now I'm trying to understand sociology as a field. And that's leading into and blockchain's pulled me into business aspect of that and trying to understand how people are structured, or how groups structure within the sociological generality, right? Within the greater sociological construct. And so I've been very methodical about this because I knew, even when I was young, because I realized at 18 or 19 that there's so much bull crap out there that people believe, like most people either believe everything that they read on the internet or they believe nothing at all. And I knew that neither was going to be efficient in trying to understand the world that I'm in. And I was just blessed to be born into a generation where I had access to the internet the entire time, and trying to, and I was brought up with the notion that you can't trust everything you read on the internet. And so that was the underlying sentiment that, okay, I need to be open-minded, but I need to be skeptical, but open to learning new things. And that's how I've functioned my entire life for 20 plus years of being a student to life. Martian, what's up? Cheetah, how's it going? What do you think about Lumen, currency of Lucifer? Oh my god, guys. Okay, so I've already talked about Lumen. It's a dead currency. It's not the currency of Lucifer. It's the currency of done. It's the currency of dead shitcoin that has nothing going for it. So the only thing going for XLM now is conspiracies. It is a bunch of people like, oh, it's going to be this because it has this connection to Ripple. And it's like, no. XLM is made by some defunct Ripple employee whose butt hurt they got kicked off the team of what is now going to be a world-changing currency, a world-changing team. He got kicked off it, so his butt hurt, so he went and started his own thing, thinking that he's going to get ahead if he went right to IBM with it and talked about all the stuff that Ripple's doing with XRP. Probably his pitch was probably more so what Ripple's doing with XRP and saying, you guys better get on this over here if you want to be involved with this technological revolution. And now IBM looked at it, they brought on some of their guys until they realized that, no, we're not going to get ahead of Ripple on this. Or they said, no, we're going to focus on our own chain. What they actually did, we're going to focus on our own chain. We're not going to use your chain here, Jed, because, you know, it doesn't make any sense to use this thing when we can focus on this very specific function with blockchain for our chain, and we don't need XLM. That's why nobody from Stellar Foundation is working at IBM anymore. It's dead. XLM is dead, and the fact that that they just burned, you know, 50 billion coins of the 80 whatever they own, that's writing on the wall. There is no reason that they should have burned that big of a supply of coins at once, unless it was, well, we're never going to be able to sell all these coins, so maybe we can at least cause a little bit of FOMO by burning most of them, and then we can sell a bit off the top. And that's exactly what they did. Who watched all those coins that after the burn, all the billions of coins that they moved into exchange wallets? And now what's happening to the price? It's slowly declining. Yeah, the writing's on the wall with that one. Like, come on now, guys. Yeah, it's already beyond the point of no return for the planet, unfortunately. But you know what? You know, maybe we will have a few geniuses pop up in this world who will find the magic bullet for certain aspects of the crises we're experiencing. You know, there's got you beat on the research. Way over 20,000 hours research here for XRP. I mean, I won't say that I have more research specifically on XRP than most people, but I'm definitely at or just over the or near or just over, in that range of the 10,000 hours for researching XRP specifically. Do you think Jesus holds XRP? Jeff Hardy, that's a loaded question, right? Like, I think if first off, if you want to go biblical, if we're gonna, all right, we're gonna premise this, right? If the key stipulation, if XRP is the mark of the beast, then that means that the Antichrist is already in power. So who's the Antichrist? Because we don't have a single world leader yet, do we? I won't answer that. You can think about that one for yourself. So speculate on that one. That means that the Antichrist is already in power because that's what the Bible describes. The Antichrist will introduce the mark, and Jesus will return 7 years into the rule of the Antichrist, and he will just begin slaughtering all the sinners. He will just begin slaughtering. He's coming back as a lion, ladies and gentlemen. He's not coming back as a friend to man. He's coming back as judge, jury, and justice when he returns. If you've read the Revelations, you'd know that he's not going to be coming back being anybody's friend. So I don't think he'll be holding XRP, because if the Bible is correct, about Jesus' return, from the day he comes back until the day God's kingdom is cemented on earth, he will be slaughtering people. It's not going to be pretty. If that's the situation we're in, right? So, if that's the situation, if XRP is the mark of the beast, we're all gonna get killed by Jesus. So, be ready to fall to your knees and say I was so wrong, I guess, when he appears, right? A crypto camper. I challenge all views to donate 1 XRP to Jay today through XRPTipBot. His address and tag are below in the title of this video. Thank you for the $10 donation, crypto camper, and thank you for making me read that out to tell everybody in the chat that my TipBot information is in the description of the video and to donate 1 XRP. Thank you, brother. Not biblical. Modern day XRP wasn't around back in the day. Yeah, but I mean, the mark is still projected. The mark of the beast is something that is written in the Bible, and it is something that will be put into the right hand or on the forehead of men. And it will be a one world currency which nobody can purchase food or anything with, or without that mark, without that currency. But so like I think that if he came back, first off, he's Jesus. He doesn't need food. He's not gonna partake in the system. Like, you're talking about a supernatural entity, who's not human, not anymore, at least not after his crucifixion. He's not human. When he comes back, he will be a spirit of vengeance upon this planet. So no, he would not use money because he would have no use for it. He would be purely energized by the power of his own force as God, because when he died, he rose to heaven and he fused with the essence of God and the Holy Trinity, that the Holy Spirit was born. And so he is a universal force. He might not, when he comes to earth, from that perspective, Jesus may never actually come to earth in a human form. He might just come as a plague. You could even write off as that. He doesn't come down as a human and kill everybody. He comes down as an asteroid, and he just, and the fire burns everything and purifying, or he's the nuclear bombs from the nuclear war. There's a lot of ways you could look at that. Tons of ways you could look at it. Like, it's not actually clear. You know what I mean? Man created money, not God. And another way to look at that too, that's a good point, Tyson, is that not only did man create money, but money is a religion. And Think of Moses's times. This is, I'm not trying to preach to anybody, but think of Moses's time. When Moses came down from the mountain, what were his followers worshiping? A golden bull. Like, hello? Like, what is money? What is marketing? What is finance? It's the worship of the golden bull market. Like, come on. How much more like ironic or symbolic could that have been in how modern society is structured, right? Like, that's kind of scary. I put that one together a while ago. Like, that was just something that I was like, whoa, that's kind of creepy. Leftists will among the first to perish. I think it's going to be a lot of people on both sides, to be honest, because Jesus is Krishna, and in Muslim belief, he was the teacher about Christ conscious. Krishna, yeah, I actually, I find that actually that's something that I've dwelled on quite a bit, Tyson, that Christ is Krishna. I mean, it's like they like there's a lot of similes between the two, and we also know that Christ like straight up disappeared. Like he we don't have any account of Christ after, I think it's like the age of 12 or whatever, something like 12. He disappears until he's like 30. What's the dude doing from 12 to 30, right? Like, where'd he go? Damn, still streaming. I just took a nap, rubbed and just finished taking a shower, bro. Yeah, dude, I've been going. Y'all like pulling some stuff out of me, but it was fun. And my battery is actually is down to 10%. I just plugged it in. So it might, if it says that it overheats, then I'm gonna use that as my excuse to call it, just so that it doesn't just like drop me randomly. If we all pray real hard at the same time, do you think that's some sacrilege there, James Hardy? That's about as sacrilegious a statement as I think you make, especially going to the golden bull, right? The scary fear stuff in the Bible is all to control the people. I largely agree, Coin Collector. I believe that by and large, most of the Bible is written by, well, obviously it was written by men. Those men may have claimed to be inspired by the Holy Spirit, but by and large, they were men. And Christ conscious. I definitely think that I definitely ascribe to the notion of like Christ consciousness and anti-Christ consciousness, in a sense that there are those who wish to better the world, and those who wish to better themselves. And I think that's definitely that's definitely a very, very legitimate thing. That might just be that I took a little bit too much. I did a little bit too much psychedelics when I was a little bit younger, and that opened me up in my mind up in ways that maybe broke me. Maybe that's why I believe in that kind of a consciousness. Because I like to believe that if you are open to rather the well-being of others and not to yourself, then you have opened your vessel, your form, up to the essence of Christ consciousness, as opposed to when you are closed, thinking of only yourself, then that's essentially anti-Christ consciousness from my perspective. Whatever yours is, whatever yours is. The end of the world already happened. It was the final crushing of the Jews, endured at the Palace Mount of Masada at the hands of the Roman army. I mean, you could argue that, or you could also argue that Hitler was the Antichrist, or you could also go from the perspective that there would be 7 trumpets that would sound, each signifying a tribulation. And so you could go with that too. So that might mean that, you know, you could infer that as there will be 7 seasons of the Antichrist or 7 incarnations. There's a lot of ways to look at it. How about XRP, huh? I've run out of things to talk about with XRP news today, cellmate, and what else? What haven't I talked about? I guess I should wrap up because it's gone on way too long, and we're getting into some we're getting into some really off-topic stuff. But you know, you guys, most of y'all seem to enjoy it. I mean, 140 people stayed tuned in while I was rambling, so you know, yeah, I think you're right, Tyson. But I enjoyed DM way more than L in my past experiences. I preferred L because I feel like I gained more insight. You know what I mean, Veta? I felt like, because like with with DM I just like, I've only done DM twice, so, and I've done L many times more than that. I think like nearly a dozen times. With DM though, like I didn't experience anything with either of them. Like I literally just blacked out. Like I just, you know, it's just like, it was nothing. Like I don't even remember the experiences from it. And so like I didn't even remember them when I came to. It was really kind of like boring, and not even boring. It was just like, okay, you know, the people that I was with had like a blast, but I did not have any experience either time doing it. It's like I stopped existing for a bit. Um, but then like L, like that one, that's always been fun because I feel like I'm actually, you know, connecting with something a little bit greater than myself whenever I've done that, and the experience is more visceral, and well, it's actually visceral. I actually experienced something. So Dimitri, yeah, Dimitri, that's a good term for it, Dimitri. Yeah, I'm trying not even to say the other ones because I know that YouTube censors them. So I mean, I'm sure I've said so much on this, it's already going to be flagged. It's not, this stream is probably already going to be like not visible worldwide once I end it. So that's all good. We went on some crazy tangents though, so thank you guys so much for tuning in. But yeah, I'm gonna wrap it up. Just to recap, anybody that's came in the stream and didn't hear about what we were talking about earlier before we went on all kinds of tangents and all kinds of all over the place. Started out the stream talking about the European Central Bank, actually, talking about releasing a central bank digital currency. They're no longer just talking, or they're no longer just speculating. Their new public stance is that they are developing a central bank digital currency that they are going to implement. It's going to replace the euro, just like we know that the Federal Reserve is doing with Fed Now and their new Fed coin, just like China's doing with the DCEP. So all these major countries are working on a CBDC. And the best part about about the fact that the European Central Bank said specifically CBDC is that we know from the interview from the presentation given at the Swiss National Bank 9th high-level research conference that all CBDCs are designed to plug into a supranational liquidity source, a digital currency that is not controlled by any one nation. And what currency could it be? Who knows? But we do know that same presentation, Brad Garlinghouse was one of the individuals on that panel, and he was asked to talk about Ripple and XRP. And so we can only assume that that's the one that they were talking about, the private institution developing a global liquidity source that they're all going to plug, all these CBDCs are going to plug into. And so with Europe now openly talking about their plans to implement one, with China now going forth with it, with the Federal Reserve making Fed Now, what was on 5th of November? 5th of November was the announcement from the European Central Bank. That's all that I was able to dig up, Danut. To random 2, CBDC stands for Central Bank Digital Currency. Pretty straightforward, right? And that is, I have a video series on here on my YouTube channel. If you go to my playlists, You can watch, it's like a 7 or 8 video long series that I did where I recapped, I broke down the entire research conference into like, 20-minute video segments. You can go watch that. It's super informative. Anybody who hasn't watched that playlist and you haven't seen the research conference I'm talking about, it is an absolute must-see. So go watch that. But other than that, the only thing else that we talked about today related to crypto was XLM and the colossal pump and dump from them burning 50% of the coins that are not in circulation that they've held since the day of creating XLM. So it has no impact on the circulating supply. It just caused a beautiful FOMO pump, and we're witnessing the price now dumping back down. So we'll see what happens. Oh, Coin Collector brings out a great point too, and I will share that. We got some interesting news regarding Jeffrey Epstein, not Jeremy. Jeffrey Epstein. Epstein has we now have further insight into this due to a leak from ABC that Epstein was almost certainly killed. He did not commit suicide. It is all but certain that he was killed. And this is due to a leak from a conversation that came out regarding a ABC journalist who was off camera but on a hot mic, and she was talking with her producer about the fact that she tried to cover this story 3 years ago, long before it ever even became a thing. And so that's some crazy stuff. If you want to know more about that, go check out We Are Change, and he just did a video on it today. Awesome coverage. Where he actually breaks down, actually goes into detail about the leaked video and shares a lot more about it. So go check him out. Otherwise, I will catch all of you guys in the next live stream on Mars. And I hope you all have a wonderful 5th of November to remember.